I'm Mark Rhodes with New View Strategies. We originally presented this session at the User Group Summit North America 2020, and now we want to share our insights and experiences with you. Enjoy!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session at Community Summit North America. I'm so glad to see you here. A little bit weird this year, virtual, not in person, but we're going to make the best of it. And our topic today is adding sales invoices to your marketing arsenal. And I have Carrie Carrozza with me today.
Hi,
Carrie.
everyone. Hey there.
And I'm Cynthia Preby. I've been working with Nav and Business Central for a little over 15 years now, and I'm very, very focused on helping users take advantage of everything that's built into Business Central. We don't need to do all kinds of add-ons or worry about integrating things because there's a lot of stuff built into the system. And today's topic is kind of near and dear to my heart because we are going to be showing you how you can actually use Business Central to help you with your email marketing.
As Cynthia mentioned, I'm here with her today, and my name is Carrie Carrozza. I have been using Nav and Business Central for a little over 5 years now, and I really enjoy also figuring out what the functionality of the system is and then helping users implement that functionality. So my specialty and background is in finance specifically. I love anything finance or accounting related. Cynthia will probably tell you I'm a huge dork when it comes to that. So I'm kind of here today just to make sure that Cynthia is also thinking of us finance people when she's talking about, having the sales invoices also do some marketing.
Well, and Carrie is definitely my go-to person for finance help. So let's do this together.
Cynthia's my go-to person for everything else.
We work well together, don't we?
Yep.
All right, so our session objectives. We want to make sure that when this session is complete, that you understand how you're going to use these emails to help in the sales process, even though they're emails that are going out with invoices attached. I'm also going to make sure that we teach you how to modify the email body templates yourself so that you're not necessarily dependent on someone else to get this work done. Now, I guarantee you're going to need to collaborate with marketing because they're not going to want you to just send out marketing materials without their help. But I want you to understand that this is something that you can do yourself. And it's going to be easier than you think. So the last thing we want to make sure we cover also is that maybe not every single customer should receive their email with marketing materials. So we're going to make sure that you understand how that works also. So let's get started. So a little bit about email marketing. When I think of email marketing to customers, I think of 3 buckets. I think of cold, warm, and hot. And I shouldn't even, I guess, say email marketing to customers because it's not just customers, but they're future customers that we might be emailing. And that first type of future customer would be the suspects. These are individuals that are out there. We haven't really had any interaction with them yet, but somehow they've ended up on an email marketing list. Maybe we purchased a list somewhere. Maybe we got a very little bit of information from associations that we belong to, and we're sending out information to these suspects because we think they might be interested in our product or service. The next level is warm. These would be individuals that we've maybe encountered at a trade show. Maybe they've filled out a card and put it in the fishbowl for a drawing for something. Our sales reps or customer service has had an initial conversation with them. They filled out a form on our website. We have a little bit of information and they are much more likely to purchase from us than the suspects, but they're not customers yet. And then lastly, we have our customers. And this would be a group of individuals that are already going to be in our accounting system because we've invoiced them. And they're hot because they are individuals that have already purchased our product or service, whether once or multiple times. So they are definitely individuals that we would target in a different way than we would someone who's never purchased from us. So when we get a customer, they move from that warm to hot, or maybe we were lucky and they move from the cold to hot. Just because they've purchased from us once doesn't mean that they're going to purchase from us again. So we can't stop marketing to them. We need to make sure that we continue to target those individuals. And we want to do that pretty quickly because getting a first-time customer to make the next purchase isn't always easy. And we want to get them as a repeat customer because statistics have shown that repeat customers will continue to make repeat purchases. They will continue to make additional purchases. And guess what? They'll share the fact that they have made those purchases and or refer our product or service to other individuals. So that really makes for a great customer. You know, somebody buying from us once isn't necessarily a great customer, but somebody who buys from us multiple times and refers other customers to us, that's a great customer.
So Cynthia, it makes a lot of sense then why when I buy one thing on Amazon, I get a whole lot of suggestions of here are other things from this seller that you might like.
Exactly, because the more you buy, the more likely you continue to buy. So why email? Well, first of all, it's cheap, right? We don't have to pay for envelopes and stamps. And it allows us to keep front of mind awareness. Uh, Kind of a silly analogy, but I was watching football earlier in the week here, and uh,
Cynthia, you
yeah,
were watching football?
I was watching
I didn't,
football.
I didn't know you liked football. What team do you cheer
Well,
for?
um, well, let's put it this way. I don't know if I cheer for them, but yes, I'm a Browns fan. Actually, my husband's the Browns fan. Um, and that means he's a really special guy because it's really hard to be a Browns fan.
I can respect the Browns as long as you're not a Bears fan.
Nope, nope, not a
No,
Bears,
no
don't
offense
worry.
to anyone out there who's a Bears fan. I'm just a Packers fan, so got a little
Okay,
rivalry going on there.
yes. Well, again, and actually, I kind of like watching the Packers. Well, I used to. Who was it? Brett Favre, right?
Yep, Brett Favre. Now we got Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, and he's okay too.
I
All
guess we
right,
should get back on
so
topic probably.
yes, we should. We should. All right, so I was watching football and, well, kind of watching football. And I was thinking, man, you know, they don't have a lot of sponsors this year. It seems like the same ads over and over and over again. And I was kind of getting a little frustrated. Again, same ads over and over again. And then by third quarter, I was really, really craving a big, fat, juicy hamburger. And here it turned out because they kept showing ads for these, you know, hamburgers and that kind of
Mhm.
food. And so it's kind of that front of mind awareness, right? I'm not even really sure who the advertisers were, but by third quarter, I really wanted a big, fat, juicy hamburger. By the way, I haven't eaten red meat for 2 years, but I still wanted a big, fat, red, juicy hamburger.
That makes one of us, Cynthia. And now I'm hungry. Now I'd like a burger or something. We always seem to get on the topic of food when we're together.
Yes, a previous session that we've done, you brought up donuts. So it
I
was my
did.
turn.
So
All
donuts and
right.
burgers.
Well, guess what? You're already emailing your customers, so you already have an opportunity for front of mind awareness. And whether or not it's a big fat juicy hamburger or it's another product or service, you have an opportunity to put something in front of their face or their eyes to maybe encourage an additional sale. So when it comes to doing that kind of emailing, there are some best practices. And who better to share that with us than the finance guru on our team?
Yeah. So I actually do the invoicing for our company, and front and center, clear and conspicuous on that email, I want to be showing the customer, here's what you owe us, and here's the date that it's due. Most important pieces of information, in my opinion, on the invoice so that they can see that right away. Also, any other applicable terms and conditions, you also might want to list payment terms on that invoice so they can see that, or on that email so they can see that as well. Second, you might want to specify how to make the payment. I know that I've been in the situation before where I'm ready to make payments to vendors and I'm looking for payment information on one of the vendors and I don't have it in front of me. Maybe they didn't send me their ACH information or didn't send that they prefer to have a check to a certain address. So unfortunately, since I'm already making payments, they're probably not going to get paid in this payment run. So I'll have to research that information and then pay them next time. So
Right?
always important.
You don't want to make it hard to get paid, right?
No,
You got to make it
definitely not.
easy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's, yeah, always important. In addition, if possible, you can insert a link for them to make payment. This might kind of push them to make payment immediately. And especially if you are accepting credit card payment, this is definitely a good way to do that. So as Cynthia mentioned, we don't want to make it hard for people to send us money. So a link that's in that email or in that invoice is always a good way to make sure that people can easily send you their payment. And then last but not least, we want to make sure that our customers know that we appreciate their business, and we're going to include a big old thank you for them at the end of that email.
Yeah, and it really is important that even though we're talking about turning this into a marketing piece, that it still serves its primary purpose.
Yeah, so from a finance perspective, I'm concerned with making sure that the invoice is attached to the email, mostly so that it can get approved and paid quickly by the customer.
And then from the marketing angle that we're trying to add to this, we still need to do that. We want to make sure that that invoice is attached and all of that best practice important information is right there for them to see. But we can go one step further and we can be creative and share additional information regarding our products or special messages about promos and events. And additionally, even possibly provide links with opportunities for additional interactions. So let's talk about how we even figure out what we need to start with.
So Cynthia, I know you're talking about an invoice layout that we're going to be doing some editing to, but how do we even know what invoice layout our company is using? How can we see that?
Great question, Carrie. So we can actually go to report selection sales. And here's where we indicate as a company, whenever we're doing a quote or an order, and in this case, an invoice, what report we are using to not only create the invoice, but also if we're emailing those invoices, what report we use for the email body. And
Okay,
in
that
this
makes
case,
sense.
it's 1306. So remember that number, 1306.
I definitely will.
Okay, great.
I'm a numbers person.
That's why I gave you that assignment. All right, so how do we get started? We need to prepare. Before we can even start really doing the work, we have some pre-work that we need to do. First of all, we're going to look at what it is that we're sending, for example, our email body, and we're going to figure out if anything's missing. So out of that list of things that you told us, Carrie, that we should be including, if something's missing, let's take the opportunity to add that to this email body at that time, right? Now,
Absolutely.
let's say that we're missing something and we don't know where to get the data from. So I'm going to show you how to figure that out. We're going to make a copy of the one we're using today, and we're going to use that copy to modify and create our new version. We're going to export that and open it in Word to do our work. So what's really cool is here we are going to use something else in the Microsoft stack to modify the report that we used for the body. We're just going to go ahead and do that in Word. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to custom report layouts. And in here, we're going to use what number, Carrie?
1306.
Yay! And this is going to bring up everything related to our sales invoice. And we are going to find the default email body, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to preview it. And this is what it looks like for us today. All right, now you notice we have a due date, but we don't have payment terms. And Carrie told us we probably should put the terms on there.
Yes, we
So
should.
what we're going to do is we're going to make a copy of this because we're going to make a change, and we're going to export the layout of the copy because we're going to make the changes in Word. Now we need to do our payment terms description, but we don't know what field that would be. So we're going to actually run the report for the invoice that we're using because we know the payment terms are on the invoice, and there they are on the invoice, payment terms net 14 days. So now we're going to do the same kind of export. We're going to go up to the assist button layout and export the layout. And we're going to use that as a reference to help us fix our email body to include the payment terms. Not too hard yet, right?
Not yet. I've been following so far. This is awesome.
Okay. So we're going to work in Word, but Word may not have everything out of the box that we need, or at least not showing. So we're going to have to actually make sure that we have the developer tools ribbon in Word. And we're going to do that, and I'm going to show you here. This is the customized ribbon that will open up that we're going to go ahead and add the developer tools, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how. So we're going to go up to File, And once this opens up, believe it or not, it's all the way at the bottom. It's kind of hidden. It's in options. So go to options and the word options window opens up. Select customize ribbon. And we're going to choose commands from all tabs. It's about halfway down on the list. We're going to select that. And also halfway down on the list, you'll see developer. This is the ribbon that we need to add to Word. So we're going to highlight developer, click on add, and you can see it got added to the right. Click OK, and you'll notice up in the ribbon right next to home, we have the developer ribbon. Developer ribbon contains several custom developer functionality in here, but interestingly enough, we're going to only use one of those, thankfully.
So Cynthia, I just have to hop in and say, probably about 6 months ago, I was trying to make an update to our sales invoice layout, and I did not know about the developer tab. So it was a very painstaking process trying to do that. And only after I asked somebody else did I find out about the developer tab and add that in, and it went a heck of a lot faster.
So unfortunately, you were doing your work before this session, so everyone here in this session will not feel your pain.
Yeah, I definitely wish I had listened to your session before I tried to do that. Would have saved me a lot of time.
Right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is pictures with links.
So I kind of got a little bit of anxiety when I just read this because, I'm not a media guru, nor am I good with any sort of technology. So do I need to reach out to like my marketing or IT department to do this, or where do I start?
Well, again, you are going to want to make sure you're coordinating with marketing, but if marketing says, hey, you know what, you can just use what's on our website for the Mix It Up session because that's what we're going to include in the email, you can just go to the website, use whatever you use to do screen capture. I think, which one do you use?
I like Snagit.
Snagit, okay, and I'm using Capture. And you're going to want to grab, just in this case, I want to make sure I don't have any extra white space, so you can see how I'm lining up my tool so that I'm only capturing really, truly the graphic. And I'm just going to do a screen capture of this. I'm going to capture the image. I'm going to, in my tool, I click on copy, and I'm going to just use Word. So I have just a blank Word document here, and I'm just going to paste it. And here I have what will end up in my email. But I want to go one step further and I want to create a link so that when they click on that graphic, so I just go to the URL for the website, I right click on this picture that I saved in Word and select link. And what I'm going to do is add a hyperlink by putting the address that I copied from the URL. So now that hyperlink is associated with this graphic.
That was really easy.
No marketing department needed. Well, no, we need the marketing department, but we're going to get guidance from them as to what we can grab off our website if that's possible. All right, pretty easy. Super easy, as a matter of fact, I think. And what I would suggest is go ahead and build an arsenal of these pictures. So when you find a blog article that somebody in your organization writes, or there's a campaign that's going on that got posted on the website, you can go and do these screen captures and build these pictures, if you would, in Word, so that maybe every 2 weeks you change this, or once a month or once a quarter. Don't get too ambitious. But make sure they're timely. You don't want to have expired information in the emails that you're sending out.
That's really cool, Cynthia. And I did just want to let you know, even though we were talking about donuts and hamburgers for a little bit, we're only at 20 minutes, so we're still doing okay on time.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. All
Sometimes it's
right.
easy for us to get sidetracked on
Yes,
things.
very easy for us to get sidetracked. Well, now we're getting into what I would say is a little more complex. We need to modify the template. And this does involve, creating that graphic, but we already did that, right, in that last step. Now, those layouts that we saved, we're actually going to open those up in Word, and we're going to have to add some XML data. And when I'm talking about XML data, what that is that's the link in the Word document to the real data in Business Central. So for example, when I send out a template and it says, here's the invoice date, here's the due date, here's the amount, All of those values vary with every email that goes out because they're related back to that specific invoice. And that's linked together with that XML data. And when we talked about adding the payment terms description and Carrie saying that she was having a difficult time figuring out what to do, it's because she didn't have that list of that XML data to help guide her. So what we're going to show you today is how to take something that could be rather complex and hopefully simplify it for you. Then we're going to also take and insert our graphic that we just created in Word, and we're going to save the layout file so that we can then turn around and import it back into Business Central for use. So as I mentioned, when we talk about the XML, it's a bit more difficult, but it's very doable. So here's an example here of XML mapping. These are all the fields and the labels or captions that you could incorporate into your Word template. So here you can see the bill to customer number has an LBL after it, and then the next one says bill to customer number. So the bill to customer number would be the actual data, and the bill to customer no underscored label would be the caption for the field. So if in my template, I wanted it to say payment terms, and then next to it, the actual terms from the document, I would need to put a label and then the terms. Or if I wanted to say bill to customer number and then show the bill to customer number, I would need to put the label and then the bill to customer number. So you can see rather frequently throughout this list, the combination with label and then the next one without label. One is the caption, the other one's the actual data. Would this have been helpful to know, Carrie, a couple of months ago?
This would have been really helpful. So everyone listen closely because this is important information.
Good. So this is the layout for the invoice in Word because we knew that the payment terms description was on our invoice. So here you can see this is the label of the XML field for the data, payment terms description. So I want to add it to the layout for my email body. This is the email body opened in Word. And you can see here I have the due date, but I don't have a place with the payment terms. So I'm going to go to my table layout and I'm going to insert a row below. I'm not going to worry about a caption for the payment terms. I just want the payment terms. So I need to go to my developer ribbon and click on XML mapping pane. This will give me the opportunity to see the list of fields. When I click on the drop down, I want to go to the very last one because this is going to give me the list of fields in my standard sales invoice. And you'll find this anytime you're working with a document. It will be the last one in that list. Here's that list of XML mapping fields. What I'm looking for is payment terms description without LBL. They're in alphabetical order, so here it is, payment terms description. I'm going to right click on it, not the one with the label, but the one without the label because I want the data. I'm going to right click and I'm going to insert the content control as plain text because I need that to show up on that field in that place in my body. Not too bad. Next thing I'm going to do is insert my graphic. Now this, to me, this is the fun part. So I'm going to go back to that Word document where I saved my graphic. Remember, I created a graphic by copying and pasting and putting the link, and I'm just going to copy that graphic. I'm going to go back to the Word document for my email body, and I'm going to paste it right in there. There you go. Guess what we just did? We took a boring email body and made it into a marketing piece. I'm going to now save this as something that's descriptive of what it is, because remember, we're going to be doing these month after month. So let's give it a name that tells us it's related to the invoice email and it's about our Mix It Up event in September 2020. So we're going to name that email, or I'm sorry, name that file. I can talk. And now I have an email body template with a payment terms description and a marketing piece with a link.
That's pretty awesome. And quick too, wow.
I think when you break it down to the pieces and you just consider that now in the future, all I have to do is replace that graphic, it's even going to be quicker. Because once I've got the payment terms description in there, I can keep reusing this same body and just save it the next time with a different link, right? And a different photo in there or
Yeah, and we
picture.
saw how easy it was to create that image with the link. So really cool.
Okay. So the next thing we have to do is we have to get back to Business Central, right? So I've done all this work in Word. I need to get that custom report layout back into Business Central, and I need to make sure that that's the one that it's going to use for my email, and I want to test it to make sure that what I did was right. So here we go. We're back in Business Central, and we're going to go right back to the custom report layouts that we exported from. So custom report layouts, what number am I going to search for?
1306.
Yay! So now that copy of the US sales invoice default email body, let's rename this because this is the one we're going to use, and we're going to rename it so that it makes sense to what it is, the email body for the Mix It Up September 2020. But that's not enough. I also now have to import that layout that I just did in Word. So I'm going to pick Import Layout, and I'm going to go find or choose that file that I just saved and click on Open. And now that is the body that's there, but I need to go one step further and update the layout so that now the rest of Business Central actually will use that layout I imported. And by the way, a lot of people forget that step. And you may not do
Agreed.
that step right away. You might do it later after you kind of look at the report. Now I need to go to Report Selections, and I need to make sure I'm on the invoice, and I need to change the email body layout to the new one that I just created. So now whenever I email the sales invoice 1306, it's going to use my Mix It Up body, not the one that was there previously. Let's go see how that looks in action. So I'm right now at a posted sales invoice, and I'm going to go ahead and hit print and send and send. And since my document sending profile prompts for email, I'm going to be able to open it up and see it before I actually send it. So now you can see I have my payment terms description. Yay! That's for you, Carrie.
Woohoo!
And I have my marketing piece. Woohoo! That's for me.
And Cynthia, what I like is that you also have your invoice number and your due date and the amount. My favorite pieces.
They're all there. Now, let's say in this particular case, I didn't want to send this email body. I just want to do a custom message. I can pick custom message here and type whatever, and it will use whatever I type here instead of that email body. If I accept the default from the email body template, it's going to send what's here. So I'm going to
Very
click
cool.
OK. And of course, you know how email works. It takes a little bit of time for it to come through. So while I'm waiting for that to come through, I just want to mention to you that, again, when you do the custom layout, you can import the layout and wait to actually update. So import the layout and do a preview from there. And once that gets approved, then you can update the layout. Now, here we go. Here's the email. It's got the invoice attached, best practice,
Yep.
and it had all that information. And when I click on the picture or the graphic, it takes them to the website, exactly what my marketing people wanted it to do. Ta-da!
That's very cool, Cynthia. And as we saw, the finance information is still at the top of that email, so I like it.
Yep. So, you know, we have situations where maybe not everyone should be getting that email body.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit more around that. So
Okay.
we can do customer specific selections for the invoice layout and the body. And you know, let's say for example, let's say our Mix It Up event was actually going to be in person, which hopefully, you know, in a few months we can do that. If it was going to be in person and we had an international customer in Denmark, maybe we don't want to send that, you know, in-person invite to our customer in Denmark. So that might be
Well,
a certain situation. What's
they
that,
might still
Cynthia?
want to come,
They might. This is true.
but
However,
no, I get the point.
if we didn't want to send that special Mix It Up email to them, we can select a different layout or email body layout for their invoice to be sent in.
So how do we do that?
I will show you in a quick demo. All right, so we go to the customer card, and on that customer card, we select Navigate, the first one, and Document Layouts, and this will open a new window for us. So we have the option under usage to select the type of document. So if I click that drop down, we're going to select invoice. And Cynthia, what's the report ID number?
1306.
Yay, you're good with numbers too now. So we type that in, and then we're going to go ahead and select that report, the sales invoice, and you'll notice that sales invoice fills in that report caption. Custom layout description. If we click on this field, it brings up the options of all the different reports, descriptions for 1306. So I'm going to select red because that's the invoice template that we use to send to our Danish customers. And then I press OK. And now we have the send to email field. If you'd like, you can manually type in an email address here, or if you go to select email from contacts, this will bring up a list of all of the contacts that have been assigned to this customer. So in this case, I'd like to select Carrie and Jim as the two contacts that should receive this email. So if I hold down Control and I also select Jim, I can select both of those and pull those into that field. And then we also have the option, we've chosen a custom layout description for the invoice. We also have the option to choose a custom email body layout. So we're going to go ahead and select use for email body, and then that will allow us to select the default template that we're going to use instead of the mix it up template. So if I click on there, I'm going to look for default email body. And if I select
This
that
is
and
the
press
one
OK.
without the graphic, right? This would be an
Correct.
example of it wouldn't have the event information.
Correct. Yeah, this is not the mix it up one that Cynthia created. This is our default one. So if I select that and press OK, now when we email the invoices to this customer, they're going to get the default email body template instead of, as Cynthia mentioned, the one with the image and the link to the mix it up event. So that's how you can set a different invoice or email body layout depending on the customer if for some reason they shouldn't be getting the custom one that you've created.
Excellent. I really think that that holds some people up from doing something creative like this because they're concerned that not everyone should be included, and this gives
Right.
you a way to handle those exceptions. So that's
Yes,
great.
absolutely. And Cynthia, I just got to let you know, 35 minutes. We're going strong.
Hey, we're doing good.
We are.
All right, so in 35 minutes, we have shown you 10 steps to more effective invoice emails. To me, one of the most exciting things is that you don't have to be a graphic artist or a developer to make this happen. If you have marketing that's already occurring out there or access to graphics that already exist, all you have to do is a screen capture to create that picture and save it in Word and then reuse it in the layout that you're creating. And don't forget to add a hyperlink to that graphic because that will carry forward into that email body. And that's a great way to drive people to your website or drive people to events or other areas that you want them to access. When we look at that ability to create a custom report for the email body, we can start with a copy of something that we have already done. So for example, we now have a mix it up email body. We can actually, for the next event or next email that we want to create a copy of that one and create yet another email body. So you don't have to worry about constantly changing what's there. You can create new ones. And it's easy to do because everything is between Business Central and Word. Just don't forget to make sure you put those developer tools in place, because if you need to include data from the sales header or the invoices that you're emailing out, you're going to want to make sure that you have that easy list to look at. You don't have to struggle like Carrie did, to be able to get that information in there. But additionally, don't worry, once you do it once, as long as you use that new email body as a basis, you don't ever have to worry about doing it again. So once you get those best practice fields onto that email body, they're on there and you can forget about that XML mapping table because you won't need it again. And then lastly, once you get everything into that email body on that Word document, you're going to go back into Business Central. You're going to import it in. I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, once you import it, you can actually preview it from that custom report layout. Once you've agreed, maybe you and the marketing department and someone else in finance, that that's the way you want it to look, that's the point where you're going to actually update it so that the system can use it for emailing purposes. And lastly, don't forget to go back to that report selection and change that email body to the new email body that you want to use. So when it's no longer Mix It Up September and you want to advertise Mix It Up October, or you want to advertise Community Summit, that you're going to be there, whatever it might be, that you're going to update your report selection with that new email body for that period of time. So it really does come down to 10 steps, I guess, depending on who you are determines whether you think they're easy or not. But I think if you break them apart into the little pieces, you'll find that it really isn't too difficult.
So Cynthia, you've clearly proven that you're a guru on this. So I would like to volunteer you, if you'd like, to write some custom email bodies for the New View Strategies invoice emails. What do you think about that?
Well, Carrie, rather than being a guru at doing this, I would like to be perceived as a guru at training it. So I would like to think after this session, you are now capable of doing this yourself.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. It does look like a really easy process. So I think it's something I should be able to do even without a knowledge of marketing and technology.
Yeah,
I can
I
do it
think
as an
you'll be
accountant.
fine. But I'll
Okay,
tell you what, I'm here for you if you need help.
good to know. Thank you.
And we have some resources here. These are from docs.microsoft, and each one of these talks about the custom report layout, how to manage them, and also how to set up document sending profiles. Boy, that's hard to say at the end of a session.
And
And
I can attest to that these are definitely some really good resources by Microsoft. I have done a little bit of editing with our sales invoice template, just as far as spacing and a few things with fields and such. And I used all of these resources and they really helped me get through, what I was trying to accomplish. So it was really great to have these resources out there.
good to know. The other thing I will tell you is you have our emails here. So if you have any questions or would like help, both of us are here to help you. That's part of what community is all about. It's sharing and helping others. And we are glad to do that at any time. And also, please, please, please complete your survey. It's not just for community summit, but it's also for us. And we'd like to hear from you what you think of the session and whether you'd like to see us back again next year doing another session. So number one, complete your survey. Number two, where did he go? There it is. So I don't know, some of you may be aware of these. These are our little helpful cubes. Carrie has, which one do you have, Carrie? Is that
I
the
have the
business?
red nav cube.
Right, and I have the blue Business Central cube. Well, we've taken these cubes one step further, and Carrie will tell you why she thinks it's one step further in a minute, but you can actually go to the MVS store and download a DIY cube. And basically what you do is you print it out on paper and you can glue it up and put it together. And Carrie, why is that one better?
Let me tell you, Cynthia, I hate to admit the amount of time that it takes me to put these puzzle cubes together. It doesn't look that complicated. The pieces just fit right together, but it takes me a really long time to put these together. At least with the printed out one, all I have to do is fold it and glue it or tape it, and I'm good to go. So it's a lot
There you
quicker for
go.
me.
From the pro.
Yeah.
And then I really need Carrie's help on this one. So we have a drawing. A grand prize is an Oculus Quest 2 VR 256 gigabyte. What the heck is that, Carrie?
So Cynthia, as a millennial, I feel it's my duty to explain this to you. So the Oculus Quest is actually a really cool all-in-one virtual reality gaming system.
Okay. So is this one of these things like I can climb mountains and stuff or?
Yep, I think there is something in there where you can, your virtual reality, like you're climbing a mountain, you climb to the top of it. There's some pretty cool stuff in there. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. There's Jurassic Park in there. Definitely recommend entering this drawing and try to win this really awesome prize.
And even if you don't win that one, we have the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones and some 4-port USB hubs. So you can use the QR code on the slide to enter that drawing. So again,
Definitely.
thank you, everybody. We are so happy that you have joined us for this session, and we hope that you have learned something that you can take back, or maybe you're just already sitting at your desk, I guess, and use right away.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. Thanks for putting up with Cynthia and I and our jibber jabber during this session.
For however long this took.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, everybody.